The 1980s were a time of mystic wonderment and excitement for America. Motley Crue was on the rise. Men actually had chest hair, and women had big hair and even bigger personalities. Dale Earnhardt Sr. was driving the yellow and blue Monte Carlo in NASCAR, and all of America hated those damn communists. It was an enchanting time that gripped the imaginations of Americans for generations thereafter. But this blissful era was not lost among the firearms community, and especially not the 1911. The rise of combat marksmanship and defensive shooting gave way to a dramatic uptick in custom 1911 pistols, and this era came to define the custom 1911 as we see it today. And for many, the Pachmayr Combat Special wrote that definition. By the mid-70s, Pachmayr had already become pretty famous for building just absolutely gangster custom 1911s. However, they wanted to get into the defensive market, and so in the mid-70s they released the Pachmayr Combat Special. It grew in popularity as defensive shooting and defensive-minded competitions became popular in the late 70s and early 80s, and of course with help from Ray Chapman and Jeff Cooper, the gun was a hit pretty much worldwide. Many 1911 enthusiasts consider the Pachmayr Combat Special to be one of the greatest custom 1911s ever made, and even today you can see its influence in modern 1911s and modern custom 1911. We at Alchemy Custom Weaponry appreciate everything that these trailblazers of custom 1911s did for our industry as it is today. And with that, we want to introduce the first limited edition Alchemy Custom Weaponry pistol inspired by the absolutely famous Pachmayr Combat Special, the Alchemy Combat Limited. I'm proud to introduce to you the Alchemy Combat Limited. As I mentioned before, this pistol is inspired by the Pachmayr Combat Special, and we wanted to build it as a tribute to the gun, not necessarily a clone. We wanted this to be a tribute to the work that Pachmayr did in bringing defensive custom 1911s really up to speed in the late 70s and the early 80s. Of course, there's a lot of things that you'll see that are old school, a lot of things that are new school on this pistol. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk from the front of this gun all the way to the rear. And like I said, folks, I'm just so jacked up right now. I've wanted a Pachmayr Combat Special since I got into 1911s, and it's a gun that I wanted. I was going to build a very similar prime target to this pistol. And then when I got on with the company, this was the first project that I kind of really pushed for, and I'm so excited that it's finally in my hands. I can't express to you my excitement. So let's start from the front here. Of course, you'll notice we didn't do a flush cut and crown barrel. A lot of folks may kind of question that, but if you look at custom 1911s from back in the day, you'll remember that that really wasn't like a thing that you saw. So we of course did the standard barrel there, and you know what? I really think this is an appropriate look on this pistol. I think it looks fantastic. Flush cut and crown barrels look amazing, don't get me wrong, but this standard barrel with the two-tone and the Kinsight Bowmar in the rear, it all comes together to create a package that is just so visually appealing. It's like seeing your favorite muscle car do a burnout right in front of you. You just can't help but smile. It's just this American urge within you just to smile when you see this gun. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Coming back, we did decide to go a little more modern on the scallops for the ball cuts. So we actually did go to ball cuts. You didn't see this much on original like guns from the 80s. So this does have ball cuts. And I think it looks fantastic. Of course, ball cuts don't have a real performance enhancing feature, but they do look cool, and we've talked about on here before the trickle-down economics. If you look good, then you feel good, and then you shoot good. And let me tell you, brother, every person that picks this gun up is going to feel good, and they're going to look good. So we got the ball cuts there. Of course, polished blued slide over a hard chrome frame. There was no other way to do it. Of course, Pachmayr's came in several different finishes, but the two-tone look is one of the most famous, and so that's what we went with. You'll notice it does say Combat Limited here on the slide. That is, of course, to pay homage to the original Pachmayr Combat Special, which had badging very similar to that. On the sights, we do have a Kinsight Bomar style rear sight here. Very, very classic, very cool looking sight, so we do have that traditional look there. On the front, though, you'll notice a lot of the older guns had a ramped front sight that was painted or black usually. So we actually decided to give you a little bit of a better look, a little bit better target acquisition with a red fiber optic. It may not be completely classic, but it is going to be much easier to see than some of the blacked out front sights. So I think you'll like that addition to the pistol. One thing you may notice, if you haven't already, is we've done vertical cock insertion. So this slide is a part of our RestoMod series. So this will be a series of pistols that we come out with our limited edition guns, where the cock insertions will be vertical. If you notice, the script is more traditional. We've been inspired by the older Colt pistols with our markings. So this is our RestoMod markings. On the ejection port side, it simply says Alchemy Custom Weaponry USA. On the non-ejection port side, it says RestoMod Series ACW Automatic Caliber 45 with the strong arm. So it's a really cool look, just an absolutely beautiful look. And I think that it's the little touches like this that really set this gun off and make it special. And to me, that was something that when I saw it on the gun in person, when I first pulled the gun out of the bag, I just kind of sat there and looked at it, because I was like, this is one of my favorite guns I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's also important to note here that original Pachmayrs and original guns from, custom guns from that era were built on production 1911s. They weren't really ground up guns like ours are today. So while we are inspired by, the Pachmayr shop, this is a 100% Alchemy Custom Weaponry pistol. So we did not start with a base gun. These parts, frame slide, everything is U.S. made, U.S. steel, and all hand fit and finished with American sweat and blood. So that's a really special thing. And one thing that does stand out from the original guns is that we're not using any base guns. This is a real Alchemy pistol that's just dressed to pay tribute to the Pachmayr Combat Special. Moving on, ring hammer. I mean, come on. If you like it, and you should put a ring on it. This should not surprise you at this point. This has a ring hammer. Not only is it appropriate, but, I'm going to put ring hammers on things. Okay, I think they're very, very classy. When it comes to custom 1911s, a lot of people don't really realize that in the 80s, one of the telltale signs that you were running a custom gangster 5-inch 1911 was that it had a ring hammer. They didn't have 5-inch guns with ring hammers really as a production thing. That was only a commander feature. So when you either made your own commander hammer or pulled one off of a Colt Commander, that was really a telltale sign, hey man, that guy's got a gangster custom 1911 because he's got a ring hammer on his 5-inch gun. So that's one of the big things in the 80s, was doing a ring hammer on a 5-inch gun. So of course we were going to put a ring hammer on this gun. Ambi safety, Pachmayr Combat Specials, most of them were ambi, had ambi safeties. This was really one of the, ambi safeties were just starting to really get popular. You saw them before the Pachmayr Combat Special, well before the Pachmayr Combat Special, but this is the gun, in my opinion, that really set the standard for an ambi safety on a defensive pistol. Of course, there are, again, plenty of famous guns that had it before, but to me, the first gun that I ever saw with an ambi safety was a Pachmayr Combat Special in a picture on the internet. So to me, that's kind of what I think of when I think of custom 1911's Pachmayr Combat Special. Rolling around, of course, we've got the standard stuff. We've got the Alchemy beaver tail hand fit and finish there. Alchemy slide stop. We did do a medium length solid trigger on this gun with a beautiful trigger pull. Really cool thing about this particular pistol, we are using genuine Pachmayr grips. So these are real Pachmayr grips on these guns, and we've cut out the middle of them so that you can use the comfort carry checkering that we have, the 25 line per inch comfort carry checkering that we have on our pistols standard. The frame does have the no scallop, so that's kind of thing you probably would have never seen on a Pachmayr gun back in the day. It doesn't have the scallops. This is the pre-1924 style of frame. And we do have a square trigger guard with the undercut. Now, the square trigger guard is another one of those big time, 70s, 80s custom 1911 features. And I thought that we kind of wanted to throw a little bit here and there at this gun. And I think the square trigger guard looks just absolutely perfect on this gun. It looks so proper to me. And not only that, but it's actually fantastic to shoot because it gives you a lot more surface area for that support hand without worrying about it rolling off the round part of the trigger guard on a traditional 1911. So it does have some actual, use in the real world, but it just looks really cool. I mean, there's no denying that looks amazing. All right, coming back here, the other part that's going to excite a lot of people, I think, is we did a 25 line per inch checkered arched mainspring housing. At this time, there was a lot of different mainspring housings being thrown around, but to me, the arched mainspring housing was still really popular in the 80s, and I think that is a really appropriate look, and it just gives it a unique look all together with the ring hammer, the arched mainspring housing, and the square trigger guard. So that's the major features of the gun, and it's one of these things. It's one of these things where I'm looking at this, and I don't know if I've ever been physically attracted to a person or an object as much as I am this. I'm just going to be honest with you. This gun represents the heyday of the custom 1911, in my opinion. It was a time when men were men, when people knew what bathroom to use. The 80s, there was a lot of bad things that happened in the 80s. I wasn't around for that. I'm a 98 baby. But, just going off movies and documentaries, a lot of bad things happened in the 80s, but it was such a wonderful time, I think, for the most part. And especially for shooting, it's just a blissful time, before social media and all that stuff. You just go out there with your buddies, you have fun with your cool custom 1911s, and you go home and have a steak. This gun is phenomenally fit, as you may expect. Beautifully fit, beautiful trigger. Most triggers will come between 3.5 to 4 pounds. Keep shooting it because it will break in a little bit. This is a hard chrome frame, and as we've mentioned before, hard chrome needs a little bit of work just to work itself in. So just shoot your gun and it'll continue to work in. That's one thing about a custom 1911. They only get better the more you shoot them. So make sure you do that. And, holster selections, you're probably going to have to go custom for a lot of holsters on the square trigger guard. That's kind of, one of those, it's unfortunate, but at this point when you're getting such a really cool gun, you might as well get a really cool holster to go with it. All right, folks, I'm all jazzed up about this gun. It's one of these things where I'm trying to talk to you about it, and it just makes me, I look at the gun and I just kind of get lost in the sauce, because it's something that I've wanted personally. I've wanted a gun like this, if not a real Pachmayr. I've wanted a gun like this for a long time. So to finally have it in my hands and be able to share it with y'all is just phenomenal, and sometimes it's breathtaking, really. So I'm super excited to bring this for your first limited edition gun. There will be more information on the website as to a lot of the specifics to the Combat Limited. So please check that out. We don't want to go around spewing a lot of figures and numbers here on the YouTube and get, in trouble with the powers that be. So make sure you check out the website. Make sure you check out the Alchemy Combat Limited. There's only going to be 25 of these in 2023. So make sure you get on that and get yourself one, because it's a special gun. It really is. It's a gun that, and I say this all the time, custom 1911s have some soul, but this gun has even a little different soul. It's like you feel like you're in the 80s. You feel like you're in an 80s action movie with this gun. It's just something special that you're really not going to be able to convey to someone until they get one of these guns in your hand. I picked this gun up and boom, my beard, just fell off into this, this Rick Rude style mustache. Most of y'all don't even know who Rick Rude is, but if you do, you know. So this Rick Rude style mustache, and I'm here to tell you, this is probably one of the best projects that I've been a part of so far in my entire life, but I think Alchemy Custom Weaponry has done. So get over there, take a look at the Combat Limited. If you're so lucky to get one, please don't hesitate to reach out and share that on social media. Let me know so I can share your pictures. And if you have any questions or concerns, hit me up in the comments, or you can always email me at eli@cabotguns.com. And I'm going to go shoot this gun because I literally can't stand it anymore. So with that, make sure you're always carrying cocked and locked, and always carry a cool gun. This is Eli with Alchemy Custom Weaponry. I'll see y'all later.